Hello and welcome back. In this next set of videos, we're going to take a look at creating our thread pool. And in this first video, we're going to start off by giving you a quick overview of our thread pool and why we're actually creating one as opposed to using the one that is integrated. So Lee, why don't you take it away?
Right. As you just mentioned, there is a thread pool. With the system.threading added, if we type thread pool, you'll see that we have one. And we have the ability to queue user work item. So this brings up the case, well, if we have a thread pool already, why in the world are we creating our own? Well, one of the things that I found out while playing around with thread pool for the very first time was the fact that not all of the features of the thread pool are fully implemented inside of Mono. Now, I can't verify whether or not it is not implemented fully in Mono, as in the project itself, or in the version that is implemented inside of Unity. I just know that there are some features inside of this built-in thread pool that I wanted to get access to that wasn't working, most notably the get max threads and set max threads. So, get available threads. And basically, when trying to figure out what threads and how many of them I could have available, I was running into issues and getting errors when I tried to implement it in Unity. So I looked at it in the MSDN site. There wasn't a whole lot to it, so it didn't look like it was going to be very hard to implement my own version. So that's what I did.
Yeah.
So you get the benefit of learning how I did it.
Awesome.
So now, what are we going to use the thread pool, or what is this thread pool that we're going to be creating? The thread pool itself is a manager. It is going to be given, or it's going to maintain, a pool of threads, worker threads, that we're going to be using to deal out work. Now, we had mentioned a few videos back that we can't have an infinite number of threads all spawned off, all trying to do work at the same time, because we'll kill the performance of the computer. Now, different processors with different number of cores have a sweet spot of the number of threads that you can spin off and have all working at once and run optimally. So with the thread pool, some of the features that we're going to be implementing is the ability to go through and modify the number of threads that this thread pool is going to manage. So we can have, as a baseline, we're going to look at the number of available processors, which the way this will work is it'll look and say, okay, you have X number of cores, and they count those as processors. So if you have a dual-core machine that each have 4 cores in them, it will report back that you have 8 processors. Now, we're going to default our system to use the number of processors that you have minus 1 with a minimum number of 1 thread or 1 processor we're going to use. So at the very minimum, you're going to have at least 1 thread in your thread pool up to the number of processors that you have in your machine. That doesn't mean that's the most that you can have. You can call on some of the functionality that we're going to implement the ability to add additional threads. So if you happen to have a machine that runs very nicely with twice the number of threads as processors, then you can set yours to do that. If you wanted to experiment and have some fun, you could, as a little challenge, try to look at the load of the processor and allocate more threads dynamically as you have available processing power. So if your processor isn't being utilized, maybe it allocates 2 or 3 more threads until it maintains a set point of processor power in your game. And if for some reason your processor becomes taxed, it throttles down on the number of threads. We're not going to implement that in this threading pool, but it's completely possible. And I'll leave that up to you guys to do that. But what we're going to do in the next several videos is we're going to implement this thread pool. It's going to, like I said, have the ability to figure out how many processors you have, allocate a thread pool based on that size, allow you to retrieve the number of threads that have been allocated, set the number of threads that you want to be able to allocate in your thread pool, as well as get the number of available threads that are currently not in use. The thread pool itself will run in a separate thread that will constantly monitor the number of threads that are in the pool, and as a task finishes and signals back to our thread pool that it is done, it will remove that thread from use and reallocate that thread for another job if there is another job inside of the priority queue. And all this is going to be pretty much seamless. Once we're done with it, you'll be able to take this code, put it in any project, and then all you have to do is add worker threads into the priority queue, and the whole thing will maintain itself. It'll all work behind the scenes. I was kind of pleased with the way this one turned out. So, but that's just basically an overview of what we're going to be doing in the next several videos. In the next video, we're going to start by creating the thread pool class and then skeleting in the methods and properties and fields that we're going to need for this class.
All right, sounds good. Well, that is going to wrap things up for this video. Thanks a lot for watching.